Have you ever had a day where the universe just winks at you? You think of a song you haven't heard in years, and it starts playing on the radio. You're grappling with a difficult decision, and the answer appears on a billboard you drive past every day but never truly saw before. You see the same sequence of numbers, 1111, 444, following you around like a breadcrumb trail. We are taught to dismiss these moments, to call them coincidences, to call them chance. But deep in your soul, you feel a hum, a resonance, a feeling that you have just brushed up against a hidden layer of reality. What if that feeling is right? What if these are not random glitches in the matrix, but deliberate messages woven into the very fabric of your life? The great psychologist Carl Jung risked his scientific reputation to give these moments a name. He called them synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. He believed they were evidence of a profound, hidden order in the universe, a cosmic blueprint where the inner world of your psyche and the outer world of events are mysteriously intertwined. Today, we step into that mystery. We will learn to distinguish a simple coincidence from a true, soul-shaking synchronicity. We will explore how these events are often magnified when we engage in deep inner work, like the shadow work we discuss on this channel. And most importantly, I will share with you a practical framework for how to begin decoding what these cosmic whispers are trying to tell you. This is not about fortune-telling. It is about learning to read the poetry of your own reality. To begin this dialogue with the universe, I invite you to make a simple acknowledgement. Write in the comments below, I am open to the signs.
These moments, these echoes of meaning, they often arrive as whispers, so subtle that our rational mind has 1,000 ways to explain them away. We call it confirmation bias. We call it a trick of the memory. We call it simple statistical probability. And sometimes it is. Sometimes a coincidence is just a coincidence. But then there are the other times. The times when a coincidence arrives with a weight, a resonance, an almost electric charge that hums in the air around it. The times when the sheer improbability of an event is so staggering that it shatters our neat, logical explanations. These are the moments that Carl Jung was interested in. Because these moments are not happening to us. They're happening for us. Let's meet Michael. He's 45 years old, a successful architect who has spent 20 years designing buildings for other people. He has a good life, a stable career, a beautiful family. But deep inside, a quiet ache has been growing, a feeling that he is living someone else's script. For years, he has harbored a secret passion for pottery, the feel of the clay, the focus of the wheel, the alchemy of turning mud into something beautiful. It calls to his soul in a way that blueprints and building codes no longer do. The thought of leaving his career feels insane, irresponsible, terrifying. So he buries the desire deep in his shadow. One Tuesday, after a particularly soul-crushing meeting about budget cuts, Michael is driving home. He is lost in thought, asking the universe for a sign, any sign. Am I crazy for wanting this? He whispers to himself. At that exact moment, he glances to his left and sees a delivery truck. On the side of the truck is a large, vibrant logo for a company he's never heard of, Kiln and Clay Co. His heart skips a beat. He dismisses it. Just a coincidence, he tells himself. 2 days later, he's flipping through a magazine at the doctor's office. He opens to a random page. It's a full-page feature article on a small town a few hours away. The headline reads, "The Town That Clay Built: How a Pottery Renaissance is Reshaping a Community." Now his mind is racing. The logical part of him is fighting hard. This is just confirmation bias. I'm thinking about pottery, so I'm noticing it everywhere. That weekend, his wife suggests they take a drive to escape the city. They get in the car with no destination in mind, just driving along the coast. After an hour, they see a sign for a small seaside town they've never visited. They decide to stop for coffee. As they walk down the main street, they pass a small, charming storefront. The sign above the door reads, "The Spinning Wheel." It is a pottery studio. And in the window is a sign that says, "Beginner's Workshop. Starts next week, 1 spot left." This is the moment the rational mind breaks. This is the moment a series of coincidences graduates into a synchronicity. It is a pattern of events connected not by cause and effect, but by a single, unifying theme of meaning that is so improbable it feels like an intervention. This is what Carl Jung described. He argued that our psyche is not an isolated island. It is part of a vast, interconnected web of consciousness, an underlying reality that he called the unus mundus, or the one world. In this deeper reality, the separation between mind and matter, between you and the universe, is not as solid as we think. Your inner world and the outer world are in a constant, hidden dialogue. When Michael buried his passion for pottery, he created a powerful psychic tension. His soul knew his true path, even if his conscious mind was too afraid to admit it. This inner state of conflict, this deep longing for a more authentic life, began to resonate within that interconnected web. The universe, in a sense, began to conspire to help him. It wasn't sending him random signs. It was reflecting his own deepest, disowned desire back at him. The delivery truck, the magazine article, the studio, these were not messages from a distant God. They were echoes of his own soul, manifesting in the physical world to get his attention. This is a critical insight in the journey of shadow work. Often the very things we have pushed into our shadow are the very things that the universe will conspire to bring into the light. Synchronicity is often the universe's way of saying, "I see this part of you that you are trying to hide, and it is so beautiful, so essential to who you are, that I will not let you forget it." It is a call to wholeness, a divine nudge, urging you to look at what you have disowned. So the question is not whether the universe is speaking. The question is, are we brave enough to listen to what it's saying about the parts of ourselves we've been too afraid to face?
To truly grasp the power of synchronicity, we must venture into one of Carl Jung's most profound and radical ideas, the idea of the collective unconscious. Most of us are familiar with the concept of a personal unconscious, the idea, largely from Freud, that we have a hidden basement in our minds where we store our repressed memories, our secret desires, and our personal traumas. But Jung believed that beneath this personal basement lies something far vaster, a shared, universal ocean of psychic energy. Imagine it this way. Your conscious mind is a small, private island. Your personal unconscious is the shoreline and the shallow waters around your island, shaped by your own unique life story. But the collective unconscious is the deep, dark, ancient ocean floor that connects your island to every other island that has ever existed. It is the inherited, psychic foundation of all humanity. It is not something you learn, it is something you are born with. And this vast collective ocean is not empty. It is populated by powerful, universal patterns of energy, primordial images and themes that have repeated themselves in myths, in fairy tales, in religions, and in the dreams of people across all cultures and all of history. Jung called these patterns the archetypes. The hero on a quest, the wise old woman, the trickster, the great mother, the shadow. These are not just characters in stories. According to Jung, they are living psychic structures that exist within this collective human field. They are the fundamental building blocks of the soul. So what does this have to do with the universe winking at you? Everything. Synchronicity, in Jung's view, is the moment when an archetype is activated within your personal psyche, and the external world constellates around that activation, creating a meaningful echo. It is a bridge that momentarily appears between your small island and the vast collective ocean. Let's think about Sarah, the quiet nurse we met in our last conversation. She has spent her life embodying the caregiver archetype, always putting others' needs before her own. But as part of her inner work, she is starting to realize that she has a deep, unmet need to be cared for herself. She is wrestling with the idea of setting boundaries, a concept that feels deeply selfish to her. One afternoon, feeling exhausted, she sits on a park bench. She is thinking, "I wish I had the strength to protect myself." Just then, a small girl on the playground nearby falls and scratches her knee. Her mother rushes over, but instead of just hugging her, she kneels down, looks her daughter in the eye, and says loudly and clearly, "It's okay to cry. Now tell me what you need to feel safe." Sarah hears these words, and they strike her like a bolt of lightning. Tell me what you need to feel safe. Is this a coincidence? Yes. Is it a synchronicity? Absolutely. Here is what happened on a deeper level. Sarah's inner work activated the archetypal theme of the wounded healer and the need for boundaries as self-care. This activation created a resonance, a vibration in the collective field. The universe, through the random event of a mother and child, provided a perfect living mirror for her internal struggle. The mother's words were the external echo of the exact medicine Sarah's soul needed at that moment. The meaning was not in the event itself. The meaning was in the timing of the event and its perfect alignment with Sarah's inner state. This is why synchronicities often feel so personal, so magical. They are not generic messages. They are tailor-made for the specific archetypal journey you are on. When Michael, our architect, was wrestling with his buried creativity, the artist archetype, the universe didn't send him signs about accounting. It sent him signs about pottery. The echoes always match the call. This is a profound shift in perspective. It moves us from seeing ourselves as isolated individuals struggling alone to seeing ourselves as participants in a vast archetypal drama that is constantly unfolding. Your life is not just your story. It is a unique expression of the universal human story. The archetypes are the roles. You are the actor. And synchronicity is the stage direction whispered from the wings, helping you to remember your lines. This understanding is a core part of an advanced shadow work practice. As you do the work of looking at your shadow, your disowned parts, you are actively engaging with the archetypes. When you confront your anger, you are meeting the warrior. When you embrace your vulnerability, you are meeting the orphan. This inner engagement creates ripples in the collective ocean, and the world begins to respond in kind, bringing you the people, the lessons, and the opportunities that are perfectly aligned with the archetypal energy you are working with. So the next time a meaningful coincidence occurs, do not dismiss it, and do not just marvel at its strangeness. Ask a deeper question. Ask, which archetype is knocking on my door right now? What universal story is my personal life currently enacting? The answer to that question is the first step in decoding the cosmic blueprint. It is the key to understanding that you are not just a random character. You are a hero on a journey, and the entire universe is conspiring to help you find your way home.
So, if the universe is in a constant dialogue with us, how do we learn to hear it more clearly? How do we move from being a passive recipient of these strange, meaningful moments to an active participant in the conversation? You cannot force synchronicity. Like a shy, wild animal, it will not come when called aggressively. But you can create a quiet, welcoming clearing in the forest of your life. You can learn to cultivate the inner conditions that make these meaningful connections more likely to appear. This is not a science. It is an art. The art of living synchronistically. And it is built on 3 foundational practices. The first practice is the most simple and the most difficult. Cultivate attentional stillness. Our modern world is a hurricane of noise. Notifications, headlines, advertisements, opinions. This constant external stimulation creates a static that drowns out the subtle whispers of the universe. You cannot hear the echo if you are screaming. To cultivate attentional stillness is to consciously create small pockets of sensory silence in your day. This doesn't mean you have to meditate for an hour. It can be 5 minutes. It's the practice of driving to work with the radio off. It's walking in nature without your phone. It's washing the dishes and just washing the dishes, focusing only on the feeling of the warm water and the sound of the plates. These moments of stillness are like letting the muddy water in a glass settle. As the sediment of your daily anxieties and to-do lists sinks to the bottom, the water becomes clear. And in that clarity, you begin to notice things. You notice the recurring symbol on a street sign. You notice the unusual bird that lands on your windowsill. You notice the overheard conversation that seems to be speaking directly to you. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the prerequisite for clear reception. The second practice is one of active engagement. Keep a synchronicity journal. Our memory is a fickle and unreliable narrator. It dismisses what it cannot categorize. A synchronicity, when left only in the mind, can quickly fade, becoming just another strange, isolated event. But when you write it down, you give it substance, you honor it. And more importantly, you begin to see the patterns. Your journal doesn't need to be elaborate, just a simple notebook. When a meaningful coincidence occurs, record 3 things. 1. The objective event. What happened in the outer world? I saw a truck with the logo Kiln and Clay Co. 2. The subjective state. What was happening in your inner world at that exact moment? I was desperately asking for a sign about my secret passion for pottery. 3. The felt meaning. What is the emotional charge or the intuitive message you received? A feeling of shock, of being seen, a sense that I am on the right path. Doing this consistently is like learning a new language. At first, you only recognize a few words, but over time, you begin to understand the grammar, the syntax, the poetry. You might realize that a certain animal always appears when you are feeling lost, or that you always find a white feather on the ground before a major breakthrough. The journal is your Rosetta Stone for the language of your own soul. It is a crucial tool in the deep, personal work of shadow work, as it often reveals the very themes your shadow is wrestling with. The third practice is the most courageous. Take inspired micro-actions. Synchronicity is not just a passive light show for your entertainment. It is an invitation to dance. To truly live synchronistically, you must be willing to act on the intuitive nudges that these moments provide. This does not mean you have to quit your job the day you see a sign. The universe respects small, courageous steps. If you keep hearing about a certain country, you don't have to book a flight. You can take the micro-action of going to the library and borrowing a book about it. If you have a recurring dream about painting, you don't have to rent an art studio. You can take the micro-action of buying a small set of watercolors. If the name of a person you haven't spoken to in years keeps popping into your head, you don't have to orchestrate a reunion. You can take the micro-action of sending a simple text. Hey, I was just thinking of you. Hope you're well. These small, inspired actions are your way of telling the universe, I hear you. I am participating. I am in the flow. Each micro-action is a vote of trust in this hidden, meaningful order. It is an act of faith in your own journey. And the beautiful, mysterious thing is, the more you act on these nudges, the more frequent and clear the nudges become. The conversation deepens. The path illuminates. Stillness, journaling, micro-actions. These are the tools of the modern mystic, the practical artist of the soul. As Carl Jung understood, this is not about escaping reality. It is about engaging with reality on a much deeper, more meaningful level. It is the journey of moving from a life of random accidents to a life of sacred dialogue. It is the process of realizing that you are not just a character in the story. You are a co-author in a constant, creative collaboration with the universe itself.
Today, we have pulled back the veil on a hidden dimension of our existence. We have dared to look beyond the world of random chance and into a world animated by meaning. We began by acknowledging those strange, resonant moments that our rational minds struggle to explain. Through the story of Michael, the architect turned potter, we saw how a series of improbable coincidences could align to become an undeniable message from the soul. Then we journeyed deep into the mind of Carl Jung to understand the architecture of this mystery. We explored the vast, shared ocean of the collective unconscious and the powerful, universal archetypes that live within it. We learned that synchronicity is the bridge, the moment an inner archetypal pattern finds its perfect, meaningful echo in the outer world. It is the universe mirroring the journey of your soul. And finally, we transformed this profound theory into a living practice. We learned the art of living synchronistically through 3 essential skills: cultivating attentional stillness to clear the channel, keeping a journal to recognize the patterns, and taking inspired micro-actions to participate in the cosmic dance. This is more than just a fascinating psychological concept. It is a fundamental shift in how you relate to your life. It is the difference between feeling like a victim of circumstance and seeing yourself as a collaborator with destiny. It is understanding that even in your moments of deepest struggle, of intense shadow work, the universe is not indifferent. It is actively engaged, constantly providing feedback, guidance, and encouragement, if only you learn to see it. Your life is not a monologue. It is a grand, unfolding dialogue. But as you become more sensitive to these whispers, you may also become more aware of the static, the inner noise that blocks the signal. Often, the biggest source of this static is the unresolved pain of our past, the old wounds, the lingering resentments, the crushing weight of guilt. These create a psychic fog that can be difficult to see the path forward, no matter how many signs the universe sends. We cannot fully embrace the guidance of the present if we are still chained to the ghosts of the past. How do we begin to release the heavy burden of self-blame? How do we find a path to true, radical self-forgiveness that goes beyond simply telling ourselves to let it go? What did Carl Jung teach us about confronting our own inner demons in order to find peace? That is the deep, essential and healing journey we will embark upon together in our next conversation as we explore Carl Jung's radical path to self-forgiveness. For now, your invitation is to become a gentle detective of your own life, to look for the poetry in the prose of your everyday existence. To honor this new awareness, I invite you to share a piece of your story with this community. In the comments below, tell us about one meaningful coincidence, one synchronicity, no matter how small, that you have experienced. Did you find a feather on your path at a crucial moment? Did a song on the radio answer a question in your heart? Did you meet the exact person you needed to meet? By sharing these stories, we create a tapestry of meaning. We remind each other that we live in an enchanted world, and we affirm that the universe is not silent. It is singing to us, always.